Starting tomorrow, all areas of the state are eligible to reopen in accordance with Restore Illinois Phase 3.
Welcome back to the Illinois Town Hall. We see officials on TV every day giving us their view of where the pandemic stands statewide.
But there are plenty of questions left unanswered. Joining us now to do just that is Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Governor Pritzker talked a lot today about long-term care facilities. He says the state offers free testing, but some private facilities are declining the help. So the governor is filing a new rule requiring every Illinois nursing home develop its own individualized testing plan. So are you saying that some nursing homes are not conducting COVID-19 tests?
Well, what we're saying and what the governor talked about in his briefing today is that, first of all, out of the 1,100 and long-term care facilities, many of them are privately owned. And so it's one thing as government when we say these are some of the protocols that we are expecting to see happen in our long-term care facilities, and knowing that as government we can make sure that those happen. But for privately owned facilities, we know that we have to work with them, let them know what our expectations are, but they're certainly not being run by the government. And so what the governor has indicated today is that our Department of Public Health is going to continue to let these privately owned facilities and all facilities really know what protocols must be followed to make sure that we are making sure that people get tested, that PPE or the personal protective equipment is available, because as all of us know, our most vulnerable residents are in long-term care facilities. They are at greater risk of an outbreak because they are a congregate setting, and we have to make sure that we do everything that we can to protect everyone, including those that are in our long-term care facilities. No one is disposable as we think about this particular pandemic, and we are doing everything we can to protect all Illinoisans. And this is another step or another measure that we are taking to make sure that some of our most vulnerable can stay healthy and continue to live long lives.
Lieutenant Governor, I'd like to go to one of our viewer questions, which plays right into all of that. Kelly from Carpentersville asks, how do we get back in to see our loved ones that are in nursing facilities? If staff are screened, get their temperatures checked, and they wear PPE, why can't family do the same?
Well, first of all, let me just say that I was the primary caregiver for my mother. She's no longer with us, but she had Alzheimer's. I was her caregiver, and there was a period of time that she was in a care facility. And so I certainly know how important it is, and how I certainly feel for Illinoisans all across our state who are so eager to see their loved ones, and I know their loved ones want to see them as well. But as much as Governor Pritzker and I understand that, he has said very clearly that, as he's always said, that we're going to follow the data and we're going to follow the science and the public health experts. And right now, it just simply is not possible. If you could just imagine your loved one in a facility, and while we are testing not just trying to continue to ramp up testing for residents, but also for all staff, but imagine somebody else coming in who it's not just that one person who's a family member, but it's everyone that that person has engaged with over time. And that just continues to increase the risk. And because it's a congregate setting, it could really lead to an outbreak, which really would not be safe for the most vulnerable of our state. We are following not just the CDC guidelines, but we have gone above and beyond those measures to make sure that we can take care of those who are in those facilities. But right now, per the CDC guidelines and per our own guidelines from the Illinois Department of Public Health, it's just not safe.
Got
and
it.
So if our number one priority is to keep people safe and alive, that's not possible to have visitors right now.
Got it. Let's talk about churches. Obviously, there have been a number of lawsuits, but the IDPH is out with new guidelines tonight. What can we expect on Sunday? Can worshipers return to church?
Well, first of all, as we have stated, it's best for people to continue their remote worship services and continuing to do so online, or if necessary, to even have a drive-in service. Those are the best options. However, under the Phase 3 guidelines, there are some opportunities for people who we certainly know that church and worship services are essential. I'm a person of faith. I've been attending church virtually online and very grateful for the opportunity to connect with my fellow congregation members in that way. But again, we're trying to make sure we follow the protocols and the safety. So if people do want to gather, then they can do so outdoors. Those guidelines are going to be found on the Illinois Department of Public Health website. In doing so outdoors and maintaining physical distancing as we always have. And then also we're still limiting the in-person services or indoor services to 10 people or less. So the goal is to make sure that people can still practice their faith, can still worship, but again, we have to do everything we can to save lives, and it's just not time to gather in large groups, even for church.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you for that long response. A good one, too. People are thinking about the weekend already. Wanted to get to another viewer question. This one comes from Eric, who lives in Montgomery. Take a listen.
As more and more areas open, the possibility of spikes in infection rise. With this in mind, how can small businesses prepare for another potential lockdown in the future? What will be done at the state level to ensure that these businesses are protected financially from closing forever?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. I think that the main thing that we can all do to make sure that our businesses can continue to stay open, because certainly the governor and I and no one wants to see our businesses close. Our small businesses are so critical to our communities, not just for the services and products that they provide, but also because they are job creators. 2/3 of the jobs in our state are created by small business, and we know that they've been hit hard through this pandemic. The best thing that we can do right now is to follow the protocols and the guidelines, to maintain physical distancing, to make sure that we're wearing our mask and continuing to do everything we can to stop the spread. The guidelines that have been put in place are because we have to reopen safely, not just quickly, which some people have called for, but quickly can certainly lead us to another surge. It can lead us to a spike in cases, and no one, believe me, no one wants to see our businesses close again. So the main thing that we can do is to keep following the hygiene and the protocols that have been set forth, so that we can make sure that we keep heading in the right direction. And we've certainly done so thus far under the stay-at-home order, and I have every reason to believe that we'll continue to do so under phase 3.
Going to quickly try to get to a viewer question with just 45 seconds left. This comes from Kristen in Palatine. She asks, full-time workers are getting called back to work for 15 hours a week, and if they don't accept, they will lose their jobs. How will they maintain their unemployment status so they can pay their bills if their bosses force them back to work?
Yes, so I think it's important to make sure that you reach out to our Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity if you're having any struggles in terms of employment and making sure that you are safe and can continue to work. We know that there's going to be some discretion that's left up to private employers, but we certainly want to make sure that we hear some of the challenges so that we can continue to provide guidance as needed.
Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, thank you for your time on the eve of a big moment as we head into phase 3. Most areas of all areas except for Chicago. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.